I've already, myself and Shaykh Abu Idris, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, we have delivered a few lectures regarding the plight of the Muslims and the suffering of the Muslims, masakeen, madhlumeen, who are weak and they are oppressed, du'afa, in the land of Palestine, and they are being killed and slaughtered on a daily basis. Make dua for them. Barakallahu feekum. There were 313 companions and there was over 1,000 of the mushrikeen with horses, spears, shields, and the Muslims had hardly anything. What was the first thing that the Prophet ﷺ did at Badr, at the wells of Badr? He raised his hands to the sky and he beseeched and begged Allah to give them victory and to protect them and to protect the believers on that day and to crush the enemy. He raised his hands, the Sahaba said that he raised his hands and we could see the whites under his arms, and the rida and the garment upon his shoulders fell off him, and we picked it up and put it back onto his shoulders because he was calling upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the people of Tawheed, 1 million of them call upon Allah, if 2 million of them, 3 million of them sincerely call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is the one who answers the dua. Allah answers. Call upon Allah in the last third of the night. Call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to aid them and to protect them. Those children and those women and those men who do not deserve this dhulm of those kuffar, of those enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who are satisfied upon seeing the blood pouring in the streets of Gaza and Palestine. As Muslims, we make dua for them. We are in a state of weakness. That is undeniable. All of the kuffar and their alliances who always talk about justice and freedom and social justice and freedom for this and freedom for that and liberation for this and liberation for that, all of them quiet. And the Western governments and these alliances sending their warships to defend them as they slaughter men, women and children in their homes. And they cut off their electricity and they cut off their water. And they cut off their connections, their communication. So we will make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala against you. Allah deals with you. Allah destroys you. And Allah annihilates you for what you are doing to the believers. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer the dua. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer the dua of his servant so long as the servant does not say that I made dua and I was not answered. So long as you are not impatient. Be patient. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to make dua for the people of Mecca, and he made dua for the people of Ta'if. He made dua for them. How many years did it take before he came back and the people of Mecca embraced? Over a decade. Do not expect. We say Allah will answer. If he does not give you what you want tomorrow, don't say I made dua, Allah did not answer. But you have to make yourselves and put yourselves in a position where your dua is answered. Be upon Tawheed. Do righteous deeds. And your dua will be answered. Have iman in Allah. Have tawakkul in Allah. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Call upon him and follow the sunnah. Don't eat that which is haram. Don't earn that which is haram. Don't wear that which is haram. Don't look at that which is haram. And Allah will answer your dua. Call upon Allah in the last third of the night. And Allah will answer your dua. Call upon Allah when you're upon a journey. Allah will answer your dua. Call upon Allah in the last hour of Yawm al-Jum'ah. Allah will answer your dua. Call upon Allah after performing a righteous deed. Allah will answer your dua. Call upon Allah in sajda, because you are not at any point nearer to Allah than you are in the place of sajda. Call upon Allah before you make the taslim at the end of the prayer. Raise your hands, put them together like the Prophet ﷺ did in the last third of the night, or when it's raining, or when you're upon a journey. Put your hands together and raise them to the sky and call upon Allah. Call upon Him by His beautiful names. Call upon Him by His lofty attributes. Call upon Allah, the owner of the heavens and the earth and whatever is within them and whatever is between them. And Allah will answer your dua. And don't despair, because the end affair is for the believers. The future is for Islam. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said after the battle of Uhud, that this is how things are. This is how things are. Sometimes they are against you and sometimes they are for you. This is the way. Sometimes we will suffer. Sometimes we'll be put to trial. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings after that hardship ease. Make dua against the enemies of Islam and the enemies of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And recognize that this problem and this situation that the Muslims are in all over the world, Palestine is just one pinch point. There is Kashmir. And there are other places around the world where the Muslims are suffering and being harmed on a daily basis. So what's the solution? What I've mentioned: righteous deeds, Iman, Tawheed. Ready yourself with taqwa, obedience to Allah, dutifulness to Allah. Spread the word of Sunnah and Salafiyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not let down the muwahhideen. If you're a person of Tawheed, upon the Sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, victory will be yours. If you have Iman and work righteous deed, victory is for you. Allah will give it tomorrow or the day after, or the day after that. Musa alayhi salam never saw the victory and the fath of Quds. He never saw Jerusalem open up. He died. Musa alayhi salam, all of that traveling, all of that journeying, all of that migration, all of that difficulty. He reaches Jerusalem and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not permit him because of the deeds of Bani Israel. 40 years they wander in the wilderness. But after he left, after he died, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave victory to Yusha, to the Prophet Joshua, alayhi salatu wassalam. And victory was at his hands. And they conquered. But Musa didn't see it. Harun didn't see it, alayhi assalam. But Allah will bring it. Allah will bring it. And you do not despair. Every child that they kill, that child will ask on Yawm al-Qiyamah, for what was I killed? Just like the girls that were killed by the pagans in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in the times of Jahiliyyah, by some of the tribes of the Quraysh who used to think that having a girl as a firstborn is humiliating, so they would bury their daughters alive. So they will ask on Yawm al-Qiyamah for what they were buried, for what they were killed. These children will ask Yawm al-Qiyamah, for what reason were we killed? And let the Zalimun answer on that day. The difference between us and them is that we believe in a Rabb who will judge, and the muwahhideen will be given victory, and the believers will be given victory. And for every suffering that they encounter, it is a purification and an expiation for them. That's why the believer doesn't despair. The Prophet ﷺ did not despair. Even at the lowest point, Khadijah dies. Abu Talib dies. They are boycotted. Yet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not despair. Because the believers, they don't despair. Whatever they do, and whatever they continue to do for the days and weeks that are to come, there is a day of compensation. There is a day of recompense. And their recompense will come. If not in this life, then in the hereafter. Then we shall see who will laugh on that day. Then we shall see who shall smile and who shall weep and who shall cry and who shall scream in the hellfire. So don't despair, my brothers, but make dua. Make dua. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer. And when this is over, and it will be over, because after hardship there is ease, and it will come to an end, then hopefully more people will recognize the importance of practicing their religion. More people will recognize the importance of ibadah over boycotting and marching and protesting. Return to your deen. Hatta tarji'u ila dinikum. Up until you return back to your religion, the humiliation will not be removed. Make dua for them. You know, some people say, I feel their pain. I don't think I can ever imagine what they are going through. Wallahi. I can see, I can read the reports, but actually being able to put yourself in that situation and imagine what it must be like, it must be the most terrifying. Your children die in front of you. Babies dying in front of you. Your wife, your children, the whole family wiped out. And they're celebrating. And they're rejoicing. I don't know how to, put myself in their shoes. All I can do is make dua. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to try us with what He's trying them with. Allah, don't try us with what you're trying them with. Oh Allah, don't afflict us like you have afflicted them. And give them ease and give them victory. And give them ease after their hardship and destroy their enemies, annihilate them. Ya Rabb. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allah is over all things, all able and capable. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. And shame on those ignorant, stupid Muslims who voted for this. They go out and they vote for these political parties in the United States. And they say by voting for him, he's going to help the Muslims. What help do these kuffar give to the Muslims? And then you go to the voting station and you put your money. That's what they did in America. All of these hundreds and thousands of Muslims in America voting for this shaitan. So that he can get into power and do what? What do they do? Except harm the Muslims. That's why I keep telling you, brothers, make hijrah. Get out of these lands and go to the Muslim countries. Being poor upon iman and maintaining your religion is better than staying in these countries, waiting for that calamity to come to us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us.